Righty, what's going on, y'all? Soul here, and welcome back to my story mode. So by the time this video is released, I have no doubt in my mind that I most likely already put out my community tab asking you guys what Pokemon you want to see returning in Generation 9. This video here is probably going out on like a Monday or something like that, so hopefully you guys go visit that community tab and put in your opinions and stuff like that so we could talk about it most likely around Thursday or Friday. How does that sound? Originally, my plan was to talk about Pokemon that I want to see return, but I thought that would be more fun to give to you guys because I had a very similar idea, but as you can clearly see from the title, ironically, that idea evolved into something else. As the video is titled, I want to talk about Pokemon that I feel deserve a new regional form in these upcoming games. If you've been a fan since around like 7th gen of Pokemon at the very least, you already know for a fact that a new region usually means a new opportunity for a Pokemon to get a new form. I have always thought of this to be a good thing because usually that means that Pokemon that wouldn't usually get as much attention are finally getting the love that they deserve in a new region. I like to think of it as a new lease on life for some of these Pokemon. I know I've brought them up a couple of times now, but take a look at Galarian Zigzagoon as an example. A new cute design, a new typing, and a brand new evolution to end the line. It's a perfect prime example of what some of these other Pokemon that I'm about to talk about today could have. I have never, even once, considered using Zigzagoon or Linoon on my main team, ever. If you had told me about 5 years ago that I would actually love to use Zigzagoon on my primary team, I would have laughed in your face. Here we are years later, and that is now one of my favorite forms in Pokemon history. Going into a new generation, the possibilities are freaking endless for a lot of Pokemon that have a lot of potential that could be utilized with a new form. Giving some of these Pokemon a new typing or a new evolution could do wonders. And frankly, I think it would be a lot easier to at least have a base of Pokemon to change as opposed to creating an entirely new Pokemon from scratch. It's a lot less work. And you know, say what you will about some of the Hisuian form designs in Pokemon Legends, but quite frankly, I'm paying a lot more attention to those Pokemon than I ever would have before. I would have literally never looked at a Quillfish 2 years ago. Now, I would absolutely try it on a competitive team. Overquill, even though it looks pretty freaking weird, is actually pretty damn good. Anyway, by now, you definitely get the gist of it. We need some new mons with some new forms in this new region. I've looked at each Pokédex from every generation and picked out very specific Pokemon. Some of these Pokemon I think would be very good candidates because they would fit the region, and other Pokemon I just think deserve a new lease on life. So, with all of that in mind, why don't we start talking about some of the Pokemon that I feel deserve new regional forms in Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet. Why don't we go ahead and start with Generation 1. Now, I'm starting off a little weird here because I just want an evolution here, not necessarily a regional form, but I would absolutely love it if we finally got a new evolution. I feel like this is one of the only situations where it may be appropriate to bring it up, so I'm bringing it up. We haven't had a new evolution since Gen 6, and that was just to nail down the whole fairy typing situation. I think it's about time we started getting other evolution types. Dragon, fighting, steel, ghost, I don't care. Just something new. That's all I want. Now moving on to Pokemon that should actually get regional variants, Poliwrath. No real specific reason, I just don't feel like this Pokemon gets utilized as often as it should. I also don't really have any ideas as to what typing they would replace, whether it be the fighting type or the water type, but whatever you could come up with, awesome. I'm just down to use Poliwrath in some way, shape, or form again. Now my next Pokemon is frankly one of the more likely Pokemon to even get a regional form on this list because it has been completely unacknowledged for years now, and I'm sure that they have something up their sleeve for it. But Tauros. This is literally the bull Pokemon. And considering the fact that this region is very likely based on Spain, it would make a lot of sense for Tauros to be in his prime here. Bullfighting is a thing over there. However, if I am wrong on that, do not hesitate to correct me. However, if we are actually running with that idea, then I think it's about time that Tauros got a full remaster. Make him bigger, give him a darker coloring, and give him some kind of like ground typing. Seriously, why is Tauros only normal type? Ground typing has existed since Gen 1, where he was introduced. Anyway, if there's any Pokemon that I feel deserves some kind of remodeling and remastering, it's definitely Tauros, especially because I don't think anybody has used this Pokemon even back when we were only playing Generation 1. Tauros is not a very popular Pokemon, or at least not to my knowledge. I haven't heard anybody talk about Tauros since he was turned into the bicycle of 7th gen. But whatever, give this man a chance, that's all I'm asking. Moving along, the next Pokemon that I want to talk about from Gen 1 is Lapras. Since Generation 1, this has been a very important Pokemon to the series, and honestly, I haven't seen it in a long time. Considering that there seems to be a lot of water in this region based on the one trailer that we do have, I wouldn't be shocked if we got some kind of new regional variant that we ended up riding around kind of like Basculegion in Legends. Obviously, it should definitely keep its water typing, that's one of its most important features. However, I feel like replacing that ice typing with something a little more unique would be very interesting. Maybe steel typing? I don't know. I don't want to just throw things out there that wouldn't make any sense. If you guys have an idea for that one, you guys let me know. Now for the last Pokemon of Generation 1, I vote for Dragonite. Most of us by now probably have no doubt of Dragonite's appearance in this game based on the fact that literally one of the towns has a Dratini statue spitting water right in the center. And that's awesome to me. I can't wait to see Dragonite in this style. That is one of my favorite Pokemon of all time if you didn't know. And when I say favorite, I'm talking like top 3, like right under the Shinx line. Meaning that I have paid attention to Dragonite through every generation, and so far, I am shocked that Dragonite has been completely ignored for a majority of its life. This Pokemon has never received a Mega Evolution, a Z-Move, a Gigantamax form, a regional form, nothing like that. And Dragonite's a pretty damn popular Pokemon, so I'm genuinely shocked that it never got anything like that. Considering that this Pokemon's line is very important to the people of this region, considering they made a statue in its image, I think that it should get some kind of new form. While I am totally fine with its original typing, I just think something fresh would be nice for it. A new coat of paint, per se, because honestly, of all the dragon types, this Pokemon has been ignored the most. It's time to give it some real love. So that just about does it for my Generation 1 Pokemon. Why don't we start talking about the Gen 2s? Ironically, I only have 2 Pokemon that I want to talk about in this instance, and that's Ambipom and Donphan. Ambipom, I just feel is a little too generic, like there's just nothing interesting about it. It's a monkey with a hand on its tail. It's a fun design, sure, but there's really nothing special about it. A new typing or a new evolution could take this Pokemon a new way entirely. I have tried using one before, believe me, it's just not a very special Pokemon. Donphan, however, has a special place in my heart. I don't really bring it up often, but Donphan was actually one of my earlier favorite Pokemon when I was a kid. And I think that's because when Donphan did roll out in the anime, it would turn into a ball, and I love that because I love Sonic, and I guess making that little connection in my young brain made me like that Pokemon. It took us forever to finally get him back in Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, but there's just so many better ground types that even if there was a competitive scene in that game, there's not really much of a reason to use him. Don't get me wrong, there's absolutely nothing wrong with singular typings. However, I feel like we've come so far now with Pokemon that this one just feels a little outdated. And hell, even if he wasn't dated, again, there is not a lot of people talking about Donphan, so I don't really know how popular it was, but it wasn't really getting used. A new coat of paint, throw on that extra little fighting typing, and hell, maybe give it a little bit of a signature move, and honestly, that could be a real turnaround for that Pokemon. You never know. So we've talked about the Gen 2 Pokemon that I would like to see get new forms. Why don't we start talking about Generation 3? Now be patient with me for a second because this is actually the biggest list on here. Starting off here, we're going to talk about Grumpig for a second. I know, a very random Pokemon to pick out of the bunch here, however, there's 2 very specific reasons as to why I picked it. 1, it's a generally underrated Pokemon. Of the more recent pig Pokemon that have been introduced, this one is probably the most forgotten. By technicality, we did get it back in Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, but I promise you, there is not one person that's using a Grumpig on their competitive team. Anyhow, my point is, as far as this Pokemon goes, I think it's about time that it got some touch-ups in the typing and design department. Doing some research, I found out that the Iberian pig is apparently very heavily populated in like southern parts of Spain, so maybe if it were to get some kind of redesign, it could be based off the dark red version that's apparently found in Spain. Its psychic typing is cool, but I've never really found that fitting for a pig Pokemon. It never really made sense, so you could either change its typing altogether, or just throw on an extra typing just because, and you could totally make this Pokemon more viable and more interesting. Either way, even if it doesn't get a new form, I wouldn't be shocked if Grumpig showed up in this region as a representative of that animal. Just saying though, if it doesn't get that new coat, there's a good chance it may go ignored again, so just putting that out there. The next Pokemon that I want to give some attention to is Skitty. The Skitty and Delcatty line is debatably one of the most useless Pokemon lines in the entire franchise. Its typing is whack, it has garbage stats, it doesn't really have any good abilities, and its move pool makes you want to vomit. This Pokemon is straight up a waste of space on the Pokédex, and that sucks because I honestly have nothing against its design. But it's too flimsy, it's not very strong, and it gets outsped by everything, and on top of that, it's just a normal type Pokemon, so it gets completely washed. Frankly, this Pokemon just needs a recreation overhaul in like every department. In my search for animals that are common or found in Spain, I found one called the Iberian Lynx. If it got a redesign, maybe it can look something along the lines of this. Also, as far as cat-like or feline representatives go, I think it's time for some new blood. Meowth has had far too much time in the limelight. While Persian would be a good representative of this animal, I think we should give that one over to Delcatty. Delcatty by now deserves a new typing, a new design, and much better stats. It's very much time to do that. Of all of the Pokemon that I have written down on this list, I have never seen one so left behind. It's time for that come up. I could talk about that all day, frankly, but I would like to move on now and talk about the next possible candidate from Gen 3, Mightyena. This is another Pokemon that I have come to recognize just straight up sucks. I actually very much enjoy its design, it looks pretty good to me. However, when I did my first Nuzlocke in Pokemon Emerald, I've come to realize how bad this Pokemon is. It is easily one of the most bare-bones Dark-type Pokemon that you can get your hands on. Its level up moveset is complete garbage, and its stats really aren't that much better. Generally speaking, I don't care what you do with this Pokemon, just make it better with a new form. If I were in charge, I wouldn't care if you went in the craziest direction and made it like a water dark type or something. Just anything but the bare bones dark typing with that crappy ass moveset. Please, fix Mightyena. Another Pokemon from Gen 3 that I feel deserves a lease on life is Torkoal. See, what's crazy is I don't actually know a lot about Torkoal, but I've never heard of anybody having a problem with him, but that may be because I've also never heard of anybody using Torkoal either. I was looking at his stats and his defense is crazy, but he is a turtle after all, so it just makes sense. I don't know, I think Torkoal is kind of neat, and I think a new fresh coat of paint could really do him some justice. I know I've mentioned ground typing a lot, but this is another situation where I just feel that it would be appropriate to add on to the typing. It just fits! But I don't know, maybe I'll play around with Torkoal again in Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl or something like that, and maybe I'll see if I could come up with a better thing for him, maybe for another video down the line, I don't know, or maybe you guys could tell me what you think about Torkoal, but we're gonna go ahead and move on. Point is, I like Torkoal, give him a new fresh coat, make him relevant again, cause why not? Now, I don't really expect a lot with this next one, but I'm gonna bring it up anyway because it's yet another Dragon-type Pokemon that got completely ignored for some reason. Flygon. This is one of the gods of Gen 3 in my opinion, and you're telling me that even in the remakes, it didn't even get a Mega Evolution? Why? Flygon is a good-ass Pokemon, debatably better than a lot of the Dragon types that we have access to currently. I don't care what you gotta do, a Dragon Water typing, a Dragon Fire typing, whatever. I want to see Flygon more utilized. While it doesn't exactly sit on the same throne as Dragonite for me, I still have a very soft spot for this Pokemon, and I would love to see it actually get some real love. No Mega Evolution in its own premier game, no Z-move, and no Gigantamax form? Yeah, it's about time this Pokemon got something. Maybe you disagree with me, but that's how I feel about it. Moving on. The final Pokemon that I want to talk about for Gen 3 is actually Cacturne. This used to be my favorite Pokemon of Generation 3, ever. Young me used to be absolutely obsessed with that design. I have no idea why, but honestly, it still sticks with me today. I love Cacturne, and I think it's about time this Pokemon got revitalized in some way. Now, on one hand, I am super down to have it get a new regional form. Now, I'm not exactly sure what you would do with its typing, but I'm sure you could come up with something creative because honestly, where did the dark typing even come from? Is that like the shadow it casts or something? Why is it also a dark type? I never really understood that. But if we're gonna stretch it that far, cacti does have its own form of liquid in it, right? So maybe it could be a grass water type in this region. I don't know. The other option would be to give it the Ursa-Luna treatment and give it one final evolution. That way there would be no type change necessary and it would be accurate to real life since cacti is always growing. Albeit it does take a very long time to grow, but this is Pokemon. We can get a little wild with it if we really want to. I truly do not mind that grass dark typing. I feel like it could be utilized more, so even if it doesn't get a regional variant, that's totally fine. But if it did get another like evolution exclusive to the region, that would be absolutely tubular. I would absolutely use the Pokemon again. Now, we're gonna go ahead and skip right over to Gen 5, mostly because I kinda have a separate discussion video for Gen 4, mostly regarding the Pokédex in general, so we'll get to that when we get to that. Anyway, I only have one Generation 5 Pokemon that I would really like to get a regional form, and that Pokemon is Electros. The primary reason that I want this thing to get a regional form is just because I want them to take a crack at fixing its design. You guys have heard me say time and time again now that I absolutely refuse to use this Pokemon simply because the 3D transition for the series absolutely butchered this Pokemon. Do whatever you gotta do. Change its typing, its general ability, I don't care. Just change its design so it like stands differently or something. I can't stand its 3D design. It is a tragic Pokemon because it's actually pretty good. Other than that though, there are plenty of 5th gen Pokemon that I'm sure are definitely underrated, but I'm sure that they'll make a comeback considering that Gen 5 gets a lot of love, so I'm sure we'll see more Gen 5 Pokemon down the line. That means that we're gonna go ahead and jump right into Gen 6. There's also only one Pokemon from this generation as well that I think really needs a new coat. That Pokemon would be Gogoat. When 6th gen was first coming out, I remember this being the first Pokemon that we were hearing about the most often. And I thought it was a fine Pokemon. Skiddo was cute and it evolved into this big ass grass goat. Gogoat. That's honestly a fire name too. I like Gogoat. So anyway, as far as I was concerned, Gogoat was underutilized as hell, and besides that, we haven't seen this Pokemon since Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. I was looking around and I came across an animal called the Spanish Ibex. It's like a distant relative of the goat that sticks around the mountain areas of Spain. So under the assumption that Gogoat would be the stand-in for this animal, I feel like it would be really cool if they added on a rock typing. Make this version of Gogoat a true mountain dweller, and also, grass rock, I don't think that's a very common typing. Even if it is, just slap on a new painted coat and you've got a fire new viable Pokemon to utilize. Well, just thinking about that, I'd probably want to put that on my team. But I'm getting ahead of myself. None of these Pokemon exist. Yet. So there you have it, make Gogoat viable. Let's move on to Gen 7. I'm gonna jump into things here and just immediately throw out the idea of bringing back Lycanroc in some form. While I was looking into things, Iberian wolves are very much a thing that reside in Spain. And as far as the wolf Pokemon that we've mentioned today, I just personally think that Lycanroc is a lot more interesting than Mightyena. Now granted, we did just see Lycanroc in the previous game, but I don't think I care. I like my edgy dog Pokemon, and if he could get his usage revitalized with some new crazy form, fine by me. Maybe this Lycanroc doesn't even have different forms. Like, we already have the daytime, the evening, and the midnight form? That's pretty ridiculous. Just throw on that solid extra ground typing or something like that, and you've got a speedy earthquaking dog. I don't know, maybe it's ridiculous, but I want to see Lycanroc back in action. The next Pokemon from Gen 7 that we haven't seen in a very long time now that I feel should definitely get some kind of new form is Orichalcum. Design-wise and usage-wise, this is already a very sick Pokemon. Its whole thing is that by eating specific nectars, it can transform. I'm thinking that we introduce some new specific nectar that Orichalcum likes to eat from this region, and we got ourselves a whole new type of bird. Water, ground, grass, whatever extra typing works for a new form. I think it deserves one. This is a very nicely designed Pokemon, and I don't think that it should have gotten sidelined as fast as it did. This Pokemon already has some pretty decent competitive use. Give it a new form and people will definitely pay more attention to it. And finally, we come to Gen 8, and I only have one Pokemon that I feel got completely shafted before the game even actually started that I think should get a new form, and that Pokemon is Nickit. This Pokemon's design, Nickit and Thievul, are fire. It's one of the first couple of Pokemon that you catch on the first route in Pokemon Sword and Shield. However though, realistically, that Pokemon's stats are kinda ass, and you find that out really fast too. I feel like this Pokemon was strictly created to just help fill out that extra Pokemon to find in the first route of the game, cause otherwise, you don't find this thing anywhere. And even if you did manage to find like a raid battle for a Dynamax Stevel or something, you would just kill it. You wouldn't catch it because you already have one in your box, and it sucks. I don't care what y'all gotta do for it. Give this Pokemon another damn chance in the ring. Come on. Even if you have to add like a normal typing so that it can get more level up moves, I don't care. It stops learning moves at level 32. This thing is almost like a slightly better version of Mightyena. That's not good. I've always wanted a fighting chance for this thing because the first time I saw it in Sword and Shield, I was actually pretty impressed with the design. I've always liked the way that it looked, but the moment I found out that it was doing nothing for my team, like in the second gym, I boxed it. It was just taking up space. Make this thing like Sly Cooper, give it a normal typing, give it some more level up moves, and just make it better. Okay, just make it better. That's all I want, because this Pokemon deserves a real chance. But besides that, that just about wraps up all of the Pokemon from every generation that I would love to see get a new form and a new fighting chance and a new lease on life in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Now, being realistic, I expect little to none of these Pokemon to show up on the new roster. Even if they did, they would probably just be in their normal forms, given the fact that we haven't seen a good chunk of these guys in like 4 to 5 years now. Whatever the case may be, I would be glad to see any of these guys show up on the roster, but even if they didn't, as long as we get some new blood and some new revitalized characters here, I'll live. Just saying though, if you throw any of these guys in as is, they are most likely to get sidelined just like they were in their original generations. But whatever, I could argue till the cows come home. At the end of the day, we're not gonna know until we know, so that's just that. Now check this out, right? I just had a package delivered to your house right now. Check the front door real quick for me. Yeah, open the box, see what's in there. Yep, that's right, it's the mic. Now I want you to pick that mic up and you go ahead and tell me, what do you think about receiving some new regional forms in Generation 9? Do you think that we're going to get regional forms at all? Do you like some of the choices that I picked out? Do you hate all of them? Do you have your own options that you'd like to, talk about a little bit? Tell me everything in the comment section below because you know for a fact that I am always down there with you guys. But with that, I'm gonna get the hell up out of here. So I would like to thank you guys ever so much for watching. I truly do hope you enjoyed. Do me the greatest favor, drop a like and a comment, and consider subscribing for more content just like this if you haven't already. But with that, I'm gone. Thanks again, hope you enjoyed, and I'll be seeing you guys in the next video. Do me the greatest favor of taking good ass care, and I'll see you all next time.